What's up, guys? NepentheZ here, and welcome to another FC25 video where we're today going to be discussing the nefarious soft patch from EA Sports. It has been theorized that EA have reverted back to the old patch pre-Team of the Year for some reason I don't know, and I'm going to show you what's been said and talk about why I'm talking about it actually, because I hadn't really planned on talking about this because it's laughable to me personally that people think that EA have reverted back to an old patch. But I am getting asked about it so much on multiple platforms that I thought it's only right to kind of just give my perspective. And for those of you that don't know what's going on, give a little explanation of what's going on. So first and foremost, EA patched the game, what was it, like 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, and it's much better. It's still got problems. The LB speed boost is still an absolute joke. Tacklebacks are still a bit of a problem. Goalkeeper animations for specifically shorter goalkeepers are still a bit silly. And, you know, defenders can still catch up pretty well to attackers, even if they have low pace. But the overall feel of the game is better. One of the worst things that they did was actually fix the near post, because the near post shot type was only broken for a really small subset of people at the higher levels of skill. And the reason why fixing that didn't really serve any purpose for anyone at all is because what they did to fix the near post is move the goalkeepers a little bit closer to the post as like a standardized starting point or standing point. And so now they parry the ball out into the box quite a lot, meaning that you end up conceding way more rebounds instead of near post shots. And so it didn't really have a net gain. However, pre-patch, I would play champs, rivals, whatever it may be, and you know there'd be anywhere between sort of like 0 to 4 or 5 goals a game on average, with, you know, scores regularly finishing 3-1 or 2-1 or 2-2 or whatever that may be, you know, low scoring goals. Post patch, the goals per game rate almost doubled, if not more, to the point where now it's like it's incredibly regular that there is 10 or more goals per game unless somebody rage quits long before the 90th minute. This weekend league, I can't tell you the amount of games that I won 8-7, 9-6, 9-5, 8-3, 7-2. You know, there is significantly more goals in the game. And whilst I do think it's definitely a positive to have it as a more open attacking game, I do think they've kind of pushed the needle too far the other way, to the point where it's gone from being far too defensive to far too offensive, and finding that middle ground would be quite nice from EA. For some reason, last week, there was a Reddit thread that got quite large. I actually can't find the thread. I've spent a whole bunch of time this morning on Reddit trying to find it. I couldn't. But I've got some other things to show you and talk to you about here. But there was a Reddit thread saying that EA have soft patched the game because all of a sudden they're not scoring goals and their defenders defenders are catching up with attackers and stuff again. And I think there's two massive things for me that people really don't comprehend and don't understand when it comes to something like a patch, is that people adapt. And I think that's where people are just getting it massively wrong. Also, the other thing of what people don't understand is connection is everything, right? I was literally just watching Jamodo. He's like a top player, streams on Twitch. And he's like a pro player for FootWiz, or maybe not anymore, actually. I don't know if he's a pro anymore. Yeah, I think he is. And, you know, he's like adamant that there's no patch because he still has days of good gameplay and days of bad gameplay, and that's quite often predicated on how many people are on the servers at the time. And some of you that don't know, and, you know, I had a laugh about this on stream yesterday, that sometimes it's people don't believe the truth, but were happy to believe some outlandish, like tall tale or story. But for some people that don't know, when you log into the game, right, when you like load up your game and you log into the game, you log into a server. I have this on incredible authority that from time to time, you might just log into the wrong server. And that might be because the server that you are supposed to get into is full, or it might be because, I don't know, your neighbor or your brother or your sister or your mum or your dad is like downloading something, and so your connection as you log in right here isn't correct, and so you might log into the wrong server. And so you might on one day think, man, my gameplay was awful today, and then the next day you log in, you get into the quote-unquote correct server, and so all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, like the gameplay's really good today. And so mentally I can understand why people would think that EA have done something to change that, and it genuinely just comes down to connection. And so I think people massively, grossly underestimate how valuable connection is within your experience within the game. Like, it is so valuable. And if you could guarantee yourself logging on to the same server every single time you played this game, every single day, every single time, your gameplay experience would be far more stable than it is now. Because I agree with you guys, right? Sometimes I'm playing the game and everything's responsive. My players feel good. They feel light on the ball. Feels like I'm in control of what I'm doing. And then there's some games where there's input delay. The players are really heavy. Can't really turn. You know, there's more tackle backs than normal, or there's more like interceptions that drop back to an opponent than normal. And it's a really frustrating experience. And people's initial mindset goes, must be scripting, or EA must have done something. When I think the mindset should actually go to, I might be in the wrong server here. Let me just restart my game. And that's all you have to do. Just restart your game and you'll connect into another server. And hopefully it will be a better one. So I've got a few bits of stuff here to bring to you guys. And the first one is a tweet from Crassy. Obviously got a lot of love for Crassy. Had some nice conversations with him over the years. Got no ill will towards him at all. But he says, and this is the one tweet that I've got among like quite a few tweets on social media recently. Not from Crassy, just in general from people, viewers, like consumers and creators. Because I'm going to tell you something that's not my opinion, it's a fact. EA have soft patched this game without saying a single word. My Pele and Team of the Year Puskas no longer outpace centre-backs. Goalkeepers are not amateur difficulty anymore. AI defending is somehow back. Precision shooting is weird. Servers extremely overloaded during Team of the Years, and you probably played your games on console in the worst delay you've ever seen. You spent everything on Team of the Year and didn't pack a single one, and you will take another 3-month break till Team of the Season. So he almost like answers his own issues here with one of the final statements there. Servers are extremely overloaded during Team of the Year, and you probably played your games on the console in the worst delay you've ever seen. So if that's the case, if that's the thought process, how could your conclusion be these things are happening because EA patched the game back to the old patch, or have soft patched the game, not even back to the old patch, but just soft patched the game? How can this be your conclusion rather than the servers are extremely overloaded during Team of the Year and we're playing on the worst delay we've ever seen? Right? It's not logical. I also think that one thing that is like, in fact, the guy right below there has nailed it. Exactly what I was going to say. People just adjust. During those first few days of that patch, everyone was in bliss because AI defending had gone, or not gone, but had been tuned down, and so you had to learn how to defend again. You know, you had to learn how to manually defend or just relearn how to defend. And the way that people attacked was new. You know, the LB speed boost was really new. And if you think about the game at the start of the game cycle, you know, it wasn't immediately that power shots were broken. They've been broken for years and people just haven't picked up on it. But it wasn't immediate that people realized that the power shots were broken. All of a sudden, we had a good few weeks of the power shot meta where everybody just wanted power shot plus players and was scoring power shots inside the box, outside the box, first time power shots, volley power shots, the lot. Guess what? You never see that anymore. Do you want to know why? Because people got accustomed to how to defend it. They learned how and when to defend, where to move their players, how to behave. They learned to notice the animations of when it happens, or they realized that there's a better scoring technique, which is probably the near post shots or the finesse shots. But it's even with finesse shots, like, I don't really concede too many finesse shots from players like Thunderstruck Saka or Elise or Mohamed Salah or whatever, because as soon as somebody cuts inside on their left foot, I know what they're going to do. So I either move my goalkeeper or I position my defender into the place to block the shot. And so with this new patch, with the LB speed boost and stuff, you can see now when they're about to speed boost because they go into a little crab walk. They go into a really, really small, like a really slow walk with like a weird jittery step. And at that point, I know what they're going to do. So I've got two options. I either go in and try and make a tackle and get it before they speed boost, or I just drop back 5 yards and wait for them to speed boost into me, and then I just collect the ball and walk away. And it's things like that that I think people have massively misinterpreted of this whole catch-up thing and whatnot. This whole, like, pasting not being an issue. And the other thing that people have done that I think is going under the radar and not noticed at all is depth has changed for teams now. Because before, you was able to be on 91 depth or 95 depth because your defenders would catch up to the attackers. So if your defense was on the halfway line and somebody popped the ball over the top, you didn't really mind because you knew that you could recover, right? Now you know you can't recover. And so now you can just look at all of the pro tactics and the custom tactics that are coming out now. The depth all of a sudden is either 50 or 61, which is the next depth that I think does an auto offside trap, but is nowhere near as up there. So if that defensive line is 5 or 10 yards further deep, then when you put a ball over the top, you've just got less space to run into for the defender to be able to catch you up with, right? So it's logical that a change in the dynamics of tactics has changed the dynamics of the patch when it came out, because everyone was playing the patch with 100 depth, 4-2-3-1, exactly the same way. People become accustomed to what the meta is, and they learn how to defend and adjust to it. And so I think people are like massively underestimating and just not even underestimating, just overlooking the fact that the patch hasn't changed. The people have changed the way that they play with the patch. And so obviously, as I say, like I had a lot of people say to me, can I please speak on EA reverting the patch or repatching the game or whatever? But I don't think what I'm saying is what people want to hear, because I don't, not even that I don't think they've patched the game. I know they haven't patched the game, and I'm going to explain to you why. First of all, here's Joel Doonans, who is the lead live operations producer for EAFC. He has said in this tweet here, there has not been a secret patch or anything of that nature. When changes to the game are made, especially ones that would impact the player experience directly, these are communicated. Seen some commentary on this platform and others about the most recent EA Sports patch having been reverted. I can confirm this did not happen. Now, I know what people will say that want to believe that the patch did happen. They'll immediately just say, well, you can't trust him. And it's like, well, fair enough. If that's, if you're just not going to take his word, then fair enough, right? But the thing that backs his point up like just significantly is that for a patch to happen, EA, when a game developer releases a patch for a game on PlayStation or Xbox, they submit the patch to the respective company for certification, where it undergoes testing to ensure it doesn't break the game or introduce new issues. If approved, the patch is then distributed to players through the console's online store, allowing them to download and apply the update to their game, usually fixing bugs, adding new features, or balancing gameplay elements. This process can sometimes have a rapid patch or similar system for less impactful updates that require less stringent certification checks. If EA patched the game, you would have had an update. It would have had to have gone through Sony and Microsoft, and that process takes around 2 weeks, so I understand. And so, whether you like to believe Joel or not, they can't have patched the game without you downloading a new patch, without you downloading the update. They can't have done. And even if they reverted back to the old patch, you would still have had to have downloaded that patch to revert back. So it is like, at that point, it's just a non-issue, right? Obviously, they haven't patched the game. If they did patch the game, they would have communicated it. It would have had to go through Sony and Microsoft stores, and you would have had to have downloaded the patch. What baffles me the most about this whole situation is that I've seen this rhetoric online, on X, on Twitch chats and YouTube videos and stuff of other content creators, not even myself, not from the content creators, but from viewers and consumers. I've seen this rhetoric that EA don't want people to have fun on their game. And so they've gone back to a patch where people hated the game. And people's logic is, if you're enjoying the gameplay, you're playing the game, so you're not in the store. And so they don't want you to have fun on the actual gameplay because they want you to be in the store. But as you can tell by EA's like most recent numbers, EA revenue information, EA revenue information. There we go. As you can tell by the numbers from EA, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it right now immediately, but they had they expected their earnings in Q4 of 2024 to be between 2.4 billion and 2.6 billion, and it only came in at like 2.1 something billion, which is still obviously a significant amount of money. But that's between 200 million and 500 million away from where they projected it to be. There is a downtrend in people spending on EA Sports FC25 compared to 24 and compared to FIFA 23. And that is because this game was garbage. This was one of the worst games that they had released. They released, honestly, a beta. They released a game that was unfinished in FC25. And I will stand by that. I spoke on that at the start of the game cycle. Spoke on that many times throughout the year, that this feels like an unfinished game in so many aspects. And as a direct result of that, people stopped playing. And when they stop playing, they stop spending. They don't stop spending because they're playing the gameplay rather than the menus. In fact, you would be more like implicated to spend money if you had a great time in gameplay, face somebody who's got team of the year Mbappe, they wipe the floor with you, and then you go, damn, do you know what? I want that team of the year Mbappe because look how good he was. Rather than going into the gameplay, being frustrated and triggered, going, man, this game's so dead because my car can't even keep away from a defender. I'm not playing this. You're not then going to go, man, what a horrible experience that was. Let me get my wallet out and go and spend $100 in the store to go and get some packs. That's just not the way most people, I believe, think, right? So the fact of the matter is, as amplified by somebody right here, there has been no shadow patch. And the responses to this was quite hilarious as well, of people just disagreeing with him. The fact of the matter is there has been no shadow patch. The game is the same. It's just that the people have learned how to play the game. And we see it with the new games most cycles, where we have a period of time. Sorry for blinding your eyes as well. I'm not logged in, so I can't put dark mode on. You have a period of time where people love the brand new game. And then after about 2 weeks, people say something like, oh my God, EA have ruined the game. They've patched it or they've done something. It's ruined the game. It's not the fact that they've changed it. It's the fact that people have changed playing it. You learn what's meta. You learn what's overpowered. You get all of these top-end players. Like, look at the level of players we've got right now in the game. It's insane. Like, it's genuinely absurd. Like, for example, this Harry Kane is an SBC. We are currently in the 28th of January, and this Harry Kane as an SBC can already go up to a theoretical, let me put the marksman on him, a theoretical 96.6 rated striker. We're in January. We've still got 5, 6, 7 months at a power curve to keep being pushed. And we've got these high-level SBCs in January. We've got the Gareth Bale SBC in January. And so it's not, again, I will reiterate, it's not that EA have patched the game. It's that people have got used to the patch. They've adapted to the patch. The meta has changed. And now people that haven't changed and haven't adapted are saying, well, guess what? EA must have patched the game because I haven't done anything different, but I'm getting a different output on the field. And that's because you haven't done anything different, not that the game has changed. And so I would just urge you guys to kind of like relearn the meta. And just note to yourself how many goals are still being scored. Like it's so easy to score goals in this game now, genuinely, to the point where, like I say, like I'm seeing in my games, genuinely like over 10 goals per game on average between the two teams. It's very regular that the game finishes with 4 or 5 goals for one person and then 7 or more goals for another person. Sometimes I'm on the bad end of that. Sometimes I'm on the good end. But that is a really, really common reality for me right now. But anyway, I just thought I wanted to bring that to your guys' attention because you've been asking me to talk about it. I don't think there's a soft patch. I think a lot of people that watch me will probably agree with me because, you obviously watch me because you align views with me quite regularly. So it'll be interesting to see if this video hits a bit of a wider audience. Maybe to see some views from those people. But that's going to be the end for today. So thanks for watching.